10 rock bands, 10 stars who got the call. And in every single case on this list, the label warned them, the manager warned them. Sometimes the lawyers drew up papers specifically to describe what this was going to cost. They fired their star anyway. What they lost wasn't always money. Sometimes it was a decade. Sometimes it was the entire identity of the band. And in one case on this list, the cost came 25 days later, and it can't be measured at all. Here's every band that had to learn the hard way. Number 10, Queensryche Jeff Tate. And I'll be honest, when you hear what happened here, you're going to think I made part of it up. Queensryche were one of the defining progressive metal bands of the 80s. Operation Mindcrime in 1988 is still regarded as one of the finest concept albums in heavy metal history. Silent Lucidity from 1990's Empire cracked the top 10, and at the center of all of it was Jeff Tate, an operatic vocalist who could hit notes most singers don't even attempt, and who was synonymous with the Queensryche sound for more than 30 years. By 2012, the band and Tate were barely functional. Business disputes, creative tension. His wife had been serving as their manager, and there were serious problems with that arrangement. Then in April 2012, backstage before a show in São Paulo, Brazil, things went catastrophically wrong. Tate physically confronted his bandmates, spat on one, punched another, what the band later called Operation Knife Crime, even though no knife was involved. The remaining members called a meeting on June 5, 2012. Tate didn't attend. They voted to fire him and announced his replacement, Todd LaTorre, a singer who had been fronting a Queensryche tribute band. And here's where it gets strange. A judge ruled that both parties could use the Queensryche name until a court or settlement decided who actually owned it. Which meant that for nearly 2 years, from June 2012 to April 2014, there were two bands called Queensryche touring the country simultaneously. Both playing Queensryche songs, both calling themselves Queensryche, both releasing albums in the same calendar year. The settlement came in April 2014. Tate lost the name. He kept the rights to perform Operation Mindcrime and its sequel in full, live, and the band kept everything else. If you've ever tried to explain to someone who wasn't following this exactly why there were two Queensryches, you already know how that conversation went. Number 9, Warrant Johnny Lane. Just a hint of what you're holding inside. And I want to be careful with this one, because there's a version of this story that's easy to tell. The difficult rock star, the bad decisions, the cycle of firings. And then there's what's actually underneath, which is where the real cost lives. Johnny Lane formed Warrant. He wrote nearly all of their biggest songs, Heaven, Sometimes She Cries, and then there's Cherry Pie, which he reportedly wrote in 15 minutes on a napkin, at the label's request, to add a more commercial track to an album that was nearly finished. He gave them the hook that defined the band, and he hated it for the rest of his life. Because once Cherry Pie hit, that's all anyone wanted to talk about. Not the ballads, not the craft underneath those records. The novelty song he cranked out in a quarter hour. That's a specific kind of pain, building something real and watching people love the joke version of it more than the actual work you cared about. And if you've ever built something you were proud of and watched it get reduced to the one thing that embarrassed you about it, you know that feeling doesn't go away. Warrant and Jani Lane had a complicated relationship through the 90s and into the 2000s. He was fired multiple times, brought back, fired again. The cycle played out over more than a decade. The label saw it, management saw it. People in that world said, explicitly, that the instability was destroying any chance of rebuilding commercial momentum. They kept firing him anyway. What most people didn't talk about openly was that Jani Lane was fighting a brutal battle with alcohol addiction throughout all of this. The professional instability made things worse. The returns didn't fix things, and the cycle wore down a person who, underneath all the noise, could genuinely write a song. On August 11, 2011, Jani Lane was found dead in a motel room in Woodland Hills, California, acute alcohol poisoning. He was 47 years old. Some people still can't listen to Heaven without feeling the weight of that. Number 8, Judas Priest, Rob Halford. Rob Halford was, and is, one of the greatest rock vocalists in history. 5 octaves, leather and studs before anyone else thought to combine them as an aesthetic. Breaking the law. You've got another thing coming? Painkiller. If you've been anywhere near a classic rock station in the last 40 years, you've heard that voice. And if you've ever been to a Priest show, you know what that voice does to 60,000 people when the riff kicks in. In May 1992, after the Painkiller tour, Rob Halford departed Judas Priest. The circumstances involved creative tension, a desire to explore different music, and a complicated professional relationship that had been fraying for some time. Whatever the full truth was, Halford was gone. The label was nervous. Management was nervous. Everyone in the business could see what Judas Priest without Rob Halford was going to look like. Then they found Tim "Ripper" Owens. Owens was from Akron, Ohio. He was a steel worker by day and a singer by night. Specifically, he fronted a Judas Priest tribute band called British Steel. He sang the Priest catalog note for note, high note for high note. Word reached drummer Scott Travis through mutual connections. Owens flew to England, auditioned, and became the actual singer for the band he'd been imitating. The guy who sang along to Judas Priest posters was now Judas Priest. Hollywood made a movie about this. Rockstar, 2001, Mark Wahlberg, loosely based on Owens, and I mean loosely. Priest asked them to leave the band's name out of it entirely, but here's the real version. Priest had to downscale from arenas to clubs. The 2 albums with Owens, Jugulator in 1997 and Demolition in 2001, sold poorly. Fans wanted Halford. The business had been saying that since day one. Halford came back in 2003. The cost? 11 years of diminished commercial reach. And one genuinely interesting Mark Wahlberg movie.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 7, Motley Crue. Number 6, Fleetwood Mac, Lindsey Buckingham. And I need you to understand the weight of what's here before we get into the details. Lindsey Buckingham didn't just play guitar for Fleetwood Mac. He produced Rumors. He co-wrote Go Your Own Way, The Chain, Secondhand News. He is the sonic architect of the most commercially successful era in the band's history. Rumors has sold over 40 million copies worldwide. It's one of the best-selling albums ever made. And in January 2018, at the band's own tribute ceremony, it all came apart over a smirk. Here's what happened. Fleetwood Mac was being honored at the MusiCares Person of the Year event. During Stevie Nicks' acceptance speech, she believed Buckingham was smirking behind her, rolling his eyes at the moment, dismissing it. Whether that's exactly what happened, no one fully agrees. But Nicks went to management, manager Irving Azoff, and according to multiple accounts, gave the band an ultimatum. Buckingham goes, or she goes. The band chose Nicks. Azoff told Buckingham he was fired. When the tour announcement came in April, he was simply gone, replaced by Neil Finn of Crowded House and Mike Campbell from Tom Petty's Heartbreakers. The music business was genuinely stunned, not just by the decision, but by the reason. One of rock's greatest guitarists and producers, gone because of what his face did during a speech. Buckingham sued. He was owed, he claimed, his $12 million share of the upcoming tour revenue. The case settled in December 2018, terms undisclosed. Buckingham said publicly that one bandmate had contacted him afterward, Christine McVie. In an email, she wrote, "I believe deep in Stevie's heart that she would like you to come home." Nicks reportedly gave the band an ultimatum to choose Buckingham or her. Their manager subsequently informed Buckingham he was fired. Christine McVie passed away in November 2022. Buckingham was not part of the band when she died. Number 5, Guns N' Roses, the original lineup. And this one isn't the story of a single firing. It's the story of an entire band being disassembled, piece by piece, by the one member who refused to leave. Axl Rose, Duff McKagan, Izzy Stradlin, Steven Adler. You put those 5 people in a room in 1987, and you got the most dangerous band on the planet. Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, Sweet Child O' Mine, November Rain. By the early 90s, the Use Your Illusion albums had made them the biggest rock band in the world. And the label's position was not subtle. This specific combination of 5 people is what makes this work. Do not break it. Adler went first. Fired in 1990 over drug problems so severe he could no longer play a show reliably. Then Izzy Stradlin quit during the Use Your Illusion tour in 1991, the creative spirit of the band, walking away mid-campaign. Then Slash, the riff behind everything, the top hat and the cigarette and the guitar tone you recognized before the first note was fully out, left in 1996 after the creative relationship with Axl became something neither of them could sustain. then Duff, and then the band that anyone had known was gone. Axl started making Chinese Democracy. Recording began in 1994. The album was rumored for 1999, then 2001, then somewhere in the indefinite future. When it finally came out on November 3, 2008, it had reportedly cost somewhere north of $13 million to record. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, sold decently in the first week, and faded. 14 years, multiple lineups, multiple producers. And a record that could never be what it was supposed to be because the people who made the original feel like something real were already gone. The label had said it plainly. Without that chemistry, the finished product would always feel like something was missing. And if you've ever sat with Chinese Democracy and tried to love it the way you loved Appetite for Destruction, you already know exactly what missing sounds like. Number 4, Black Sabbath Ozzy Osbourne. April 27, 1979. Bill Ward knocked on a door in Los Angeles and delivered news that nobody in rock had seen coming. Ozzy Osbourne, co-founder, lead vocalist, the voice of heavy metal since 1968, was being fired. Ward was chosen to deliver it because, as Ozzy later put it, he wasn't exactly the firing type. The conversation was brief. The fallout lasted decades. The official reason was unreliability. The band had rented a house in Los Angeles to begin writing their next album, and once they started working, Ozzy disappeared. For 6 weeks, no one knew where he was. Ozzy was going to clubs and getting really out of it and not coming home, guitarist Tony Iommi said. Nothing was being written, nothing was being recorded, the album couldn't happen. What Ozzy said afterward, and he was right to say it, was that everyone in Black Sabbath had the same problem. They were all in it, and yet he was the only one who paid for it. We were 4 blokes who'd grown up together a few streets apart, he wrote. We were like family, like brothers, and firing me for being 4'd up was hypocritical. The management at the time sent a young woman named Sharon Arden to Los Angeles to look after the aftermath. She managed Ozzy's chaos, rebuilt his career, and eventually married him. Together they created one of the most successful solo runs in rock history. Sabbath went in the other direction, brought in Ronnie James Dio, made Heaven and Hell in 1980, and produced one of the great heavy metal albums of that era. Both paths worked, and that's what makes the Black Sabbath entry on this list so complicated. Because it's not a story of catastrophic failure, it's a story of 2 things thriving separately that might have been extraordinary together. The reunions, the breakups, the feuds, the reconciliations played out for 4 more decades. And neither version ever fully resolved it. Ozzy Osbourne passed away on July 22, 2025, at the age of 76. He and Black Sabbath played a final concert together in Birmingham not long before he died. The original members who were still with us were all there. Not everything that costs you shows up on a balance sheet. Number 3, The Rolling Stones' Brian Jones. And if you've been with me this far, you already sense where this is going. Knowing the destination doesn't make the road easier to walk. Brian Jones founded the Rolling Stones. Not joined, founded. He assembled the group in 1962 in London. He named it Rolling Stones, taken from a Muddy Waters song. He was the one with the original vision. He recruited Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. He booked the early gigs. He built the thing from nothing. And by 1969, he was the member least involved in recording his own band's music. His substance abuse had become so severe that when he did appear in the studio, he either rarely contributed anything musically, or, when he tried, his bandmates would switch off his amplifier. The upcoming American tour required a U.S. work visa, and his drug convictions had made that essentially impossible. The band needed to move forward. The business knew what was happening and couldn't stop it. On June 8, 1969, Jagger, Richards, and Watts visited Jones at his Cochford Farm estate and told him the group he had formed would continue without him. Cochford Farm had once belonged to A.A. Milne, the man who wrote Winnie the Pooh. That specific detail has always stayed with me. The founder of the Rolling Stones, sitting in Winnie the Pooh's old house, being told he was out. "... 25 days later, on July 3, 1969, Brian Jones was found at the bottom of his swimming pool. He was 27 years old. His death was ruled death by misadventure. Circumstances have never been resolved to everyone's satisfaction. The Rolling Stones played a free concert in Hyde Park 2 days later. Mick Jagger read a poem. Hundreds of white butterflies were released into the summer air. And Mick Taylor, Jones's replacement, made his debut with the band on that same stage, 2 days after the man he replaced was buried. When people talk about what firing a star really costs, they usually mean money, chart positions, legacy damage. Brian Jones answers that question differently. Number 2, Van Halen, Sammy Hagar, Gary Cherone. And I need you to stay with me on this, because what Van Halen did in 1996 is one of the great cautionary tales in rock history. And then, at number 1, I'm going to show you where it really started. Sammy Hagar replaced David Lee Roth in 1985. Before you argue about which era was better, and I know you have a strong opinion, and I can see you already reaching for the keyboard, just acknowledge the numbers. 4 consecutive number 1 albums, 5150, OU 812, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and Balance. Nine number 1 mainstream rock hits during Hagar's tenure. Van Hagar worked. Even the people who hated the nickname had to look at those charts. Then in June 1996, Van Halen fired Hagar over a dispute involving 2 songs for the Twister soundtrack. Hagar said he was fired. Eddie said Hagar quit. The label looked at what was happening and made their position clear. This was a serious mistake. Here's what followed. Van Halen briefly tried to reunite with Roth. They appeared together at the 1996 MTV Video Music Awards. And the appearance made things worse, not better. Roth was out again, so the band brought in Gary Cherone, frontman of Extreme. Cherone is genuinely talented. That's not the issue. The issue is Van Halen III. Cherone's sole release with the band was Van Halen III, released in 1998 to mixed reviews and diminishing sales, the only Van Halen studio album not to get a Platinum RIA certification. Warner Brothers reportedly sent a follow-up album back twice because they could not hear a hit single on it. Cherone was gone by November 1999. No Van Halen studio album for 14 years. Think about that. From 1998 to 2012, one of the most successful rock bands in American history released nothing new. "14 years of silence, a consequence of one bad firing that triggered another bad hiring, that triggered another bad departure, and they hadn't even gotten to the decision that started it all." Number 1, Van Halen, David Lee Roth. If everything you just heard about Van Halen sounds like a disaster, 4 #1 albums that couldn't save them, the Cherone catastrophe, 14 years of nothing.
And she knows what love is for. It should mean.
Then I need you to understand where the disaster actually began. It began in 1985, the 1984 album, number 2 on the Billboard 200. Jump, the only Van Halen song ever to reach number 1 on the Hot 100. Panama, Hot for Teacher. They were the most exciting rock band in America, possibly in the world. And in early 1985, while still technically in Van Halen, David Lee Roth released a solo EP called Crazy from the Heat and wanted to make a film. He had outside ambitions. The Van Halen brothers, who'd had creative friction with Roth building for years, saw the opening. When Roth delayed the recording of the follow-up to 1984, he was fired. The label, Warner Bros., had serious reservations. Management had serious reservations. The music industry looked at what Van Halen was in 1985, looked at the plan to replace their irreplaceable frontman at the precise peak of their commercial power, and said, "Don't do this." They did it anyway. Now look, the Sammy Hagar era was commercially successful. I already told you the numbers, but something changed. The identity split. Half the fan base went one way, the other half went another. And neither version of Van Halen ever fully recaptured that specific combination. Eddie Van Halen's genius and David Lee Roth's showmanship in the same room, at the same time, that made you feel like anything could happen. When Roth finally came back for A Different Kind of Truth in 2012, 27 years had passed. The album was good. The reunion felt real. But Eddie Van Halen passed away in October 2020 from cancer. The band was over. Everything you heard in this video, the Hagar firing, the Cherone disaster, the 14 years of silence, the complicated reunion, the final goodbye, it all traces back to one meeting in 1985, one decision. The business warned them. They didn't listen, and the cost, spread across 4 decades, was the full story of the greatest rock band they could have been.
Now